Hello and welcome to Beyond 2000. In 1729, British poet James Branston wrote, "Music hath charms to soothe the savage beast." But if you've ever tried to learn piano, you'll know there's one thing it isn't. And that's soothing. It can be downright frustrating, and many give it up before they get it right. But what if someone reinvented the piano to make it easier to play? Simon Reeve has found just such a person.
It's a scene and a sound repeated in millions of homes around the world every day. And like most children learning piano, this young lady is struggling with an age-old problem. Little hands trying to play a grown-up's musical instrument. But what do you do when you're all grown up and your hands are still too small? Hey, no problem. You invent a new piano keyboard. We're listening to an original composition by Kanpei Muto in a small studio in Tokyo. A trumpet, a trombone, and a piano. But as they say, this is no ordinary piano. It's called a Rapian, and at the risk of calling on an old cliche, you'll probably be hearing more of that name in the years ahead. 20-year-old Kanpei-san has been a student of the piano for 6 years. For someone with relatively small hands, it was never an easy road. But rather than give up, this industrious young man decided to attack the problem like no one had done before, turning hundreds of years of convention upside down. The sound produced by the Rapian and the internal structure are exactly the same as a conventional piano, but as you can see, it's the keyboard that's radically different. There are still 88 notes as on a conventional piano, but on the Rapian, they're spread out over 5 rows rather than 2. If I play horizontally along the piano, I move up a whole tone for each note, or if I play diagonally down the 5 rows, I move down half a tone for each note. Although the keys on the Rapian are narrower than on a conventional piano, the space between them gives you a greater area to strike, which for fumblers like me can be a pretty big bonus. But perhaps the most important function is that the same finger position can be used for every scale. I think the Royal Albert Hall can wait. With the Rapian, there is also the great advantage of playing the same notes with different patterns. For example, the Rapian can be applied to any forms of music, jazz, rock, and classical. Kiyoe Kitajima, a 19-year-old student of the classics, says this keyboard has opened up a whole new world for her. It took 3 years for Kanpei-san to perfect his design. He says he didn't set out to challenge the establishment, simply to offer a viable alternative should people like the idea. This is the first working prototype. Black keys can be built in, should you so desire. A Rapian keyboard is already in place on an electric piano. It seems the potential for this ingenious invention is boundless. Whether or not it achieves commercial success is almost a secondary consideration for Kanpei-san. Music is the most important thing in his life, and who are we to argue?
The new boat design that's leaving the others in its wake. Still to come on Beyond 2000.
anyone learning to play the piano is not always with the music, but often with the instrument itself. Small hands on children and many adults can make playing the right notes impossible. But with aspiring musicians, where there's a will, there's a way.
Kampai Muto's love for the music he plays so well blossomed at a young age. So did his talent for turning the difficult into a delight on the ivories. His passion, music. His invention, the Rapian piano. Same sound, but a new way of making it. Rapian, 2.5 times more keys serve the original 88 notes. C, for example, can be touched at 3 different positions on the keyboard. C sharp 2 places, D 3, and so on. A rap pianist can choose what position on the key best suits the hand and length of the fingers. Like Kanbai, 20-year-old Kyoyu Kitojimiya has all but mastered the Rapian. Her abilities didn't come magically. 14 years of practice have helped, but the ease of the Rapian keyboard has been the difference. Rapians are now being manufactured in Japan. They sell for about $12,000. Kanbai's next project, turning a grand piano into a grand rap piano.